Well, here we go again. Another Zwift race. This one is the 3R Watopia Flat Race. It's 3 laps, and it's got a They say it's flat, but it's got a 2 or 3 climbs each lap. Yeah, they're not very long, but you gotta lay some power down if you wanna stay with the group you're with. My goal today is to kind of hang with the lead group as far as I can. And this is a mixed race, so we got all the A, B, C's, and D's together. And here we go. I'm always pushing about 400 watts, 300 watts in the beginning. If you're in the draft, you're okay. The people pushing 600 watts, it's not going to last too long. And if you're in the draft, you're going to be fine. Now I'm still pushing, and I'm winding my way through the pack a little bit. 300 watts, and I'm coming up to the front. So this one started pretty fast, but it wasn't as fast. So 400 watts for a minute. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to hang out with the lead group. And here we go. At this moment, I thought, we're going up that climb. But here we go. We turned, so you can back off a little bit. I'm still doing 350 watts, and just hanging in the back of the front of the group. But if I stay at that power output, I'm gonna make my way up to the front. And now I'm seeing that I am making it to the front, so I'm trying to lay off of the pedals a little bit, and too late. As always with Zwift, you always, well, at least I do, overshoot it a little bit. But I'm backing off. The trick here is not to back off too much, because you're gonna be finding yourself at the back of the pack. So I'm trying to still keep it around 300, 260, 270, and just slowly kind of feathering the pedals to not lose too many places. And right now we're going downhill, so I could have probably laid a little less into those pedals and still maintain my position in the pack. So here we go. Everybody's kind of settling down, and it's been about 2 minutes. So this is about the time where everybody's beginning to relax. Everybody kind of burned through their first match, and I'm just sitting in the pack here, beginning to relax a little bit. But as always with Zwift, you can't really relax too much, because the moment lapse in concentration and you let that gap form, and it's going to be hell trying to get back to the lead pack. 2.5 minutes into the race, everybody kind of settling down. Let's jump to mile 2. Okay, so here comes the first test. See where my legs are feeling. I'm watching the elevation profile in the top right hand, and I'm seeing it go up. So I said, so everybody's going to start kicking in hard. So I am too, but I'm only doing about 300s, high 300 watts. If you're in the draft, you can usually be okay with that if it's not too steep. And right now it only went up to 3%, and it was pretty short, so it wasn't too much of a test staying with the front group. Okay, so here we are, just kind of cruising, and there's this guy T. Murphy. He just takes off. Okay, so I'm thinking, must be new to Zwift. I don't think he understands how this pack works. As a solo rider, everybody knows you're not going to be able to stay away from a pack, especially on a flat course. And I think everybody's thinking like me, because nobody's really chasing. And I'm kind of actually backing off the pedals, letting everybody else kind of get around me. And if they want to chase them down, they can do it. I'm just going to sit behind and relax and kind of see what happens. Everybody settled down a little bit, so let's jump ahead. So this guy takes off about 5 minutes into the race. He takes off, and he's been around a minute up at the front, and we're not really gaining on him too much. So now I'm thinking, yeah, I think this guy is a flyer. If he can stay up that for that long, well, ahead of us, and we're all doing 4 some watts per kilo plus, and he's just staying up there, I'm beginning to suspect this guy's a flyer. But there's somebody else trying to chase him down, and now nobody's really reacting until boom, right now everybody's beginning to react.
Okay, baby.
So I'm like, oh crap, I gotta dig in. So as long as I can stay in the draft, I think we're gonna be okay. But now everybody's beginning to wind up their speed, and here we go. My watts are slowly creeping up. I was sitting at high 200s. Now I'm beginning to push 330s, and I'm seeing the gaps form, and I'm like, oh crap, here we go. So 360 watts, and I'm in the draft. So now it's like, you got to make sure you island hop all the way back up front, because otherwise you're going to just get left behind. So everybody's pushing. If I'm doing 370 watts right now, everybody else is pushing pretty hard, and I'm just sitting in the draft. So the guys up front, they're pushing hard. Now under that load, we did manage to catch the flyer, but I think it would be difficult even if you're cheating to stay away from, if somebody's pushing 370 watts in the draft, everybody else up front is pushing really probably like 500, 600 watts. And it's going to be tough to stay away from that. But we caught him pretty quick once the whole group decided to go to dig in and catch him. And now we're going up about we just went up at 2%, 1%. Everybody's laying low again. That was pretty painful effort for me. I can tell that I'm beginning to burn through the matches pretty quick, and there's still a long way to go. 15 miles left to go, and I know I need to save my energy, but here we go, making the turn, and now I know I'm going to relax a little bit. There's a downhill here, and I don't think I paid attention to the side on this first lap to see the elevation, but I quickly realized that when everybody starts going around, we kind of begin to dig in again. My heart's 170s right now. My max is usually in the 190s, mid 190s, so I'm still pretty good. 20 beats below that, so I'm pretty confident that hopefully I can make it to the halfway mark with just at least 5 miles left. But the Flier's still at the front. Even though we caught him, he's still just sitting up there pushing 5.5 watts, 6 watts, and
let those guys get in front of me.
I think the guys, we were just trying to stay behind him. I think kind of people realize that, hey, this group is not going to go anywhere. With a Flyer, anybody that can keep 6-7 watts per kilo, it's going to be tough to. It completely changes the dynamics of the race. So everybody's beginning now to kind of back off and relax and just be along for the ride, pretty much.
Up a little bit.
Nothing happening. Let's jump to mile 5. Okay, so I made it up to almost 5 miles with the lead group, but here comes the first test. And we're going, this is the downhill a little bit, and then here we go, hitting it hard, 5%, 6%. And now I'm thinking, oh crap. So here goes my watts, 500 watts. And you gotta race to the top of that hill like it's the finish line. You don't want to let any gaps form, because it's going to be hell trying to get back to the lead group. You're better off just digging in, making sure you're staying with the front pack, sitting in the draft. Now we hit the top, and downhill I'm backing off a little bit, trying to save some of those matches. And here we go. And this course right here, it's going to be, the next section is going to be pretty hilly. So I'm trying to feather the pedals going down the hill and attacking the climbs, just so I can make sure I'm staying with that lead group. And there goes that Flyer again. He's taking off. And I'm just hanging in there. This is a rough part. Everybody's just pushing hard up those climbs, All I'm trying to do is just hang in that in the draft. Okay, so we're coming up on completing the first lap. I'm still hanging in the lead group. My heart rate's 160s. Everybody's kind of backed off right now, trying to relax during this flat stage. And here we go. That was about 13 and a half minutes on that first lap and about 6.5 miles. So about 12.7 miles to go. Everybody's trying to relax a little bit. Still, T. Murphy pulling the pack along at a good clip. He's doing good, 5 some watts per kilo just sitting up front. And I did check to see if he had a heart rate monitor, and the guy didn't. So I'm pretty sure he was a flyer. Everybody just hanging out, long flat section. So we're just gonna fast forward through this. It's probably about 2 miles here. Okay, so here we come again. Then climb is coming up after the tunnel. Got a little bit of downhill here. I'm backing up. I'm expecting it already, so I'm pretty prepared for it. And you can see my watts going up here pretty quick. 2, 3, well, 400 watts. I want to make sure I'm staying with that lead group. Better push hard in the beginning and slowly die off at the end. Because hopefully by the time you make it to the top, you're still close to the front of the pack. And I made it. No big deal. I'm actually feeling pretty good today. Heart rate still 170s. Haven't really spent too much time in the 180s. And here comes another good flat part, and everybody gets to relax a little more. Another long section where nothing happens, so we're just fast forwarding through it. It's probably about 0.7 of a mile.
halfway mark.
Okay, so that Flier is still at the front, just pulling the pack along. Everybody's kind of realized by now that there's not much they can do about it, and they're just going to sit in the pack and draft and see what happens. We're just going to try to take it to the finish line, sprint finish. Nobody's going to break away when you have a Flier in the group. So somebody decides to attack here. They started with about 6.5 watts per kilo, and they just took off. And I'm realizing it a little bit. I'm not realizing it. I'm just seeing that the pack is moving faster, so I'm just pushing harder on the pedals, just trying to stay in the draft. And this thing is just getting into a file formation here, one file, and everybody just scrambling for a wheel, trying to get in there, doing 300, 330 watts, just sitting in the draft, and everybody just they're just suffering right now. I know I am. 175 watts, 175 beats per minute, 375, 384 watts, and nothing really materializes. There's some gaps formed, 1 second, but if you're sitting in the draft at 360 watts, Weber sitting up front, it's not going to last too long, pushing 500 watts. And we're making that turn, and we're going back down the hill. And now I know there's that little climb coming right after the downhill here, so I'm beginning to push a little bit harder here, make sure I don't get left behind. And just sitting in the front pack, and it's still a pretty big pack, but there was some gaps forming, 4, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. So I think it's probably wound down to about 22 people. Fast forward through another boring section.
So we got roughly 8 miles to go.
Okay, so here we are, been relaxing for the last few miles. It's been flat, just hanging with this pack of about 22 riders, getting pulled along by that Flier, and just trying to save as much energy as I can, because the next climb's coming up. It's about 6% incline, and I know it's gonna be another test, and I'm just trying to hide from the wind here, just sitting in the middle of the pack. And here we are, coming up pretty quick. It's winding up, going across this, go over the bridge, and I'm watching the upper right hand corner, and I can see the elevation profile changing, and I'm trying to be up at the front a little bit.
Alright, here comes the climb.
But not too far up ahead, so when I'm attacking, I'm not pushing into the wind first. But now it's beginning. Here we go. And 390, 400. And if I can stay at mid 400s, even low 400s to the top of the climb, I should be okay. But I'm pushing 480s, 470s. I want to be as far up ahead in this group as I can, just in case there's a gap forming when we hit the top. And after this just starts the hills that are coming up here, and I find myself up at the front again, pretty close. So, and we got a downhill, so I can back off the pedals. I'm going down to the 100 watts. I haven't seen 100 watts here, and the 100's in a while, but it is 6% downhill, and I have to keep an eye on that elevation profile in the corner. So here we go again. There goes the Flier. He's still pushing up there, going as fast as he can. Everybody's reacting to it. If you can hang on his wheel, you pretty much got a free ride to the finish line. Even if he's doing 5, 6 watts per kilo, you can do 4 watts per kilo and just sit in the draft. But he found one guy made it to him. So now they're working together. I'm not chasing. I don't have the legs to chase anybody down. I'm just gonna sit here and try to kind of be in the middle of the pack, hide from that wind as much as I can, and let them do the work, chase those two guys down. I know whoever made it with the Flier, I don't think you can work with him too much, even though it looks like that. But I think the Flier is just doing 5.5 watts per kilo. It's going to be tough to work. You're just going to have to sit behind him and just suck wheel. But it looks like we're going to just catch him right back up. And I haven't done really that much. I'm still just doing 280s, 300 watts, 260 now. So I'm pretty relaxed. I'm not going to chase anybody down.
I'm tired now.
I don't have the legs. Okay, here we go. Fast forward, another lull. We're still just working on chasing those two guys down. Okay, so we're coming up to completing lap 2. So 1 lap to go, about 6.5 miles left. And those two guys have been up at the front for almost 2 miles now, for about 4 minutes. And Murphy's still pushing 5.96 watts per kilo. No wonder we can't catch him. And the guy that's with him, he's just sitting behind him, sucking wheel. And here we go, 1 lap to go. And nobody's doing anything. I'm not doing anything because I don't have the legs, and I know it's useless to chase those guys down. I'm not going to catch them. I mean, anybody pushing 5 watts per kilo, I'll probably have to go 7 watts per kilo to make up that time gap of 4 seconds. And people are just going to jump on your wheel and pull you, and you just pull them to the front. And those guys have been up there. I mean, you can tell. I mean, there's another guy trying to jump, and now that's going to kind of get everybody wound up. And I'm just sitting behind them. But as soon as they started, getting everybody wound up, we're going to catch those guys pretty quick. A big pack like this, it's gonna move pretty damn fast. So I'm at 333, 320s. I'm in the draft. I was doing 350 in the draft. So now I find myself up at the front again. But the gap, even though it's only 2 seconds, it's an enormous gap to bridge on your own, unless you're just freaking fast, So I'm just waiting for the pack to come around me, and I'm gonna just jump in the draft and let them pull me along. There's somebody saying, "Let's catch him now." Well, I don't know about that. I don't think he's aware. So now there's 3 guys up front, and the pack is just moving along. Still 5.5 miles to go, and those other 2 guys with the Flier, they're not gonna be able to help him out. They're just gonna sit on the wheels. And somebody else is trying to bridge the gap. I'm not really too worried. They got to be pretty damn strong if they're going to bridge the gap. But I think they look like they slow down up front. They're doing 3.5 watts per kilo, except for the Flier. He's still doing 5.5. So those guys are just sitting behind him. And so am I, just sitting in the draft. And it looks like the pack, we're slowly catching them. We're only a second back, we're getting there. But it's tough. So through this section, we're just working on chasing that small group ahead of us. Only about 2-3 seconds, led by Murphy, of course. We're just trying to chase those guys down, and of course we catch them shortly because everybody's trying to bridge the gap. So I'm just sitting in the draft, and here we go, back on their wheel. So at this point, we're about 5 seconds back. So they're putting a good gap on us, and there's 4 guys up front, and somebody decides that they're gonna start chasing. So here they go. The guy attacks, and that just gets everybody wound up again. And here we go, another round. The group at the front has slowly been building up. 4 or 5 riders up front. and they've been up there for the last 4 miles. I think it started with about mile 11, and now we're at mile 15, and they're still there. I'm still not doing anything. Pretty much, I don't have the legs. So here we go, another climb. Everybody's attacking. I'm doing my 450 watts, trying to hang in there. It's a short climb, and there's plenty of riders in my group that I can jump off in the draft of. And here we go. There's another little break. No really time to rest here. And there's another gap, but again, I don't have the legs to do anything. So I'm just letting riders get around me, and I'm just going to jump on their wheel. And those guys up front, they're still up front. 4 seconds. We made up 1 second on them. And now we're split up in 3 groups. But at this point, I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, we're back here, pretty big group, so we should be able to catch them. But we're getting into a single file, and now I'm kind of getting worried because there's a gap forming between us, the third group, and the second group on the road. But there's not really much I can do unless they bring me close enough to that second group. And now I kind of feel close, that we're close enough. So I'm I'm doing the last little bit of effort, and I'm attaching myself to the second group. But I'm not going to work any harder than I have to. So I'm just going to sit with these guys, and finally, I think we're finally catching those guys up front, and we're a second behind. Murphy's still doing 6 watts per kilo. So, but again, it just shows you a big pack, group of riders. They can catch just about anybody. And here we go. I'm already spent, so I'm not really going to make that last push to catch. There's only a few guys up front. So I'm confident that as the group that I'm with, they'll catch him. You know, somebody's always going to work hard enough to do it, and we're big enough of a group to catch him. And here we are. We're all back together. Only about 3.3 miles to go, and right now my heart rate went sky high. I'm 184. My max is 196, but I really don't want to go that high too often. And here you are. Murphy, the Flier, still up at the front. It's like he didn't even do anything. He's just riding there at 5.3 watts per kilo. And the whole group is still back together. Okay, so let's fast forward through here. Nothing happened. Everybody just stuck together. Okay, so we're making the left-hand turn, the turn towards home. We got a little downhill here, and I know there's a little climb coming, so I'm getting my watts up. 345. I don't want to miss. I don't want to lose the front group now. Only 2.5 miles to go. I made it this far, and of course Murphy's still at the front, just pulling the group along. And I think we're still the whole 20 riders in there, or nearly that front group. And we're about 20 seconds ahead of 2 other riders. And that's the end. This is the group that's looks like it's going to finish together. I don't really have a sprint. I'm just happy right now that I made it with this lead group. And we're just pushing along. I think they're just, well, I know I am. I'm just going to bid my time for the sprint. Even if I don't have one, I'm just going to save my energy and just save it all for the end. And here we are, back together again. Nothing going on, still 2 miles to go. So fast forward through here. So here we go, less than 2 miles
Confirm.
to go. I'm just checking on other riders. I just checked Murphy out. He was still doing 470
Murphy.
watts. There we go, 480, 470, and still no heart rate. And he's just still dragging the pack along. But right now, all I'm thinking about is the pain that's coming, because we got another climb here coming up, and I'm feathering those pedals. I'm doing 200 watts, trying to save as much energy before this climb. And here he goes, upper right-hand corner.
All right.
I see it coming, and I'm trying to get enough people in front of me so I can have somebody to draft off of up this climb. And here I go, 440, 450, 477.
Yeah.
So basically, this is my final sprint. Because if I don't make it to the top with the front group, they're gone. They're gone. I mean, with 1.4 miles to go, it's they're not going to slow down once they hit. They get a gap and they're gone. And I can see a gap forming, and I'm pushing as hard as I can, but there's nothing I can do. I'm just hoping people go around me so I can draft off of them. I still have one guy in front of me, and I think he saved me because I was able to get in his slipstream. And the guys up front, they're backing off a little bit. They were doing like 3 watts per kilo there for a second. And another climb. So we got the rollers here, just trying to hang in the draft. I'm still I'm so happy that I made it up that last climb. And right now, just dig in, stay in the draft, let them pull you to the line. I don't have a sprint. I know my odds of winning this race is pretty much no, but I'm just happy. I'm sitting with the front group. My heart is 188. My max is 196, and I don't really want to reach that. That's like real serious pain. And I'm still in here. One more downhill. Good, nice downhill. Back off a little bit. Now here, boom. Kick it up again. Hard, hard, hard. Don't let that gap form. And I'm still just dangling along at the back of this group. But we got 0.7 miles to go. So I know they're not going to slow down. Just sitting in the back. Murphy's still up front, pulling the group. And here we go. He's just tagging along, tagging the whole group. And I'm just right here at the back, trying to survive. Heart rate still at 188, 0.4 miles to go. And I'm backing off. Is everybody else backing off? And I don't want to get up to the front. They'll just sit behind you. So here we go. I'm getting to wind up my deadly sprint. But of course, I just spent all my energy up the last climb. And here we go. Somebody's taking off. And I'm just saying, oh, get it going. So here goes my watts. And here we go, 340. But I just don't have anything. I did about 480 up that last climb. And I'm barely doing 440s here. But I did beat one person, and they did form a gap on me.
Oh my God.
So now let's check the results. 40.53 came in 11th, 294 watts, 171 heart rate. But the next thing is to check Zwift power, and that's where the results will be. So let's check that.
Oh my God, how was it? That's the race with a Flier. Oh my God, let's see. Hey, I beat one person in the sprint. Guess that's good. Whoa. Low pack, go Murphy. Yeah, right. 417 watts. lost is because the sprinter. Oh my god, that was tough. Alright, let's go back to the... So that was a race with A's, B's, and everybody in there. But one guy, all it took is one guy to ruin the race. He averaged 417 watts for nearly 50 minutes or so, 40 some minutes. That's definitely world best. And no heart rate, that's my only issue. Actually, a lot of issues, but that's the things that ruin Zwift. So, anyway, I'll have a commentary on this in a little while. There'll be a link on the up there on the page. Click on it and hear my thoughts. Doing a more, or let's say less aerobic effort. Just want to digest the race and kind of see what's up. See when I realized that there was a Flier. Usually you can tell right away. They don't know how to race. They just lay the power down, get up at the front. But anyway, got a good workout out of it. We'll check Zwift Power later. See what happened. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time.
Okay, and here are the results on Zwift Power. And on Zwift Power, I finished 5th. Alright, so 4053, 3.9 watts per kilo. Same 294 watts. And there's my profile on Zwift Power. So Zwift Power usually is good at weeding out all the cheaters. So with that, thanks for watching and see you next time.